He was known by many names: Junior, Elder Kamae, Henry, Brother Kamae, Kalana, Dear, Dad, Tutu, and to most he was Uncle Henry, the man with the ukulele and the beautiful voice. Henry Elia Kamae Jr., my dad, was born on Sunday, July 27th, 1941, to Mariah Nahaku Kai'oilawea Lua and Henry Elia Kamae Sr. Their third child and second son, he joined Kenneth and Kevola as part of the Kamae Ohana. Henry is known to everyone during his childhood as Junior, is remembered by his siblings, cousins, and friends as So Kolohe, a real rascal. As a child of performing parents, he picked up the ukulele at a very young age. All the Kamae kids could sing. He played football and baseball in high school before graduating a Kahuku Red Raider in 1959. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Henry served several missions for the church. He served a building mission, also known as a labor mission, helping construct the Polynesian Cultural Center in Laie, Hawaii. He was also called to serve a proselyting mission to Hong Kong and the Philippines. Now, when missionaries are called to serve, they spend their first few weeks at the MTC, which is a missionary training center, where they receive instruction on teaching lessons of the gospel of Christ, and when serving internationally, they are immersed in language lessons. At the time my dad was called, there was no MTC. He was literally sent to China on a mission of the Lord and learned to speak Mandarin and Cantonese, the main dialects, but other dialects as well. It's funny because whenever we would go order Chinese food, he loved going in and ordering from the staff in the language of his first mission. He also served in the Philippines and was fluent in Tagalog. Dad had such a gift for language and accents. Dad attended the Church College of Hawaii, which is now known as BYU Hawaii. He spent many years as a carpenter and drafter, but his true love and talents lie in his music. As his father and mother before him, Henry spent years traveling the country sharing his voice and strumming skills with countless people. Dad took great joy in becoming a father. He spent his life recalling stories of each of his children and many times writing beautiful songs in their honor. His oldest son, Darren, served a mission in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he delighted in each letter received and written. One of the true highlights of Dad's life was his time spent as a missionary, seeing the world and sharing the love of Christ with his fellow man. He once said that it was his proudest moment when my sister's daughter, Mara, was called to serve in the Frankfurt, Germany mission, and was so pleased when his granddaughter, Darian, was called and was currently, at the time of this original reading, serving her mission in Eugene, Oregon. Over his life, Dad had the fondest memory of taking my sister, Sissy, and her brothers, Darren and Nathan, to Disneyland. There is a goofy picture of all of them in Mickey Mouse ear hats that sat on his many different desks throughout many houses, reminding him of the magic of that day. Dad shared his musical talents across the country from early on. He traveled all over New England performing with friend Alika. It was there he embraced his stage presence and was known locally as Kalana King. Always a comedic rascal, Dad brought a liveliness and distinct laughter to each show. And then, at the drop of a hat, he could turn it on, the soothing voice that made hearts melt. Dad shared the name of Kalana King with son Jason Elia Kalana Kamae, gifting him a name that encompassed the love he had for his own father. Dad and Jay spent many of his toddler days feeding ducks and singing the 5 Little Ducks song. If you have ever been in a room with my dad when he has his ukulele and children under 5 are present, you'll know what I'm talking about. 5 little ducks went out one day. It was almost as memorable as his always classic monkeys jumping on the bed song. You know, the one where he hollers at the end, "Hey you, get off the bed." He loved Alina Mariah, sharing his own mother's name with her. A gifted songwriter, he penned a ballad called "She's My Girl, Alina," and would sing it often. In recent years, he had taken great pleasure in showing her the joy that comes from playing an ukulele. He married wife and sweetheart of 31 years, Liz, in 1982. They briefly lived in Hawaii, where he was building houses and where they welcomed me, Chrissy, but returned and finally settled in Southern California in 1984. Here they found a home with the Long Beach 6th Ward, which later merged and became the Long Beach 7th Ward, meeting weekly in this very building, the building where we held his memorial, where he served the church in many different callings. When my little brother Keola was 3 and Liz was expecting Jerrina, they were sealed in the Los Angeles Temple in November of 1988. Music played such an important role in the Kamae family. As we look through pictures, many show my dad holding an ukulele. Excuse me. Being a registered Native and full-blooded Hawaiian, of which there are less than 200,000, he took great pride in the culture of his birth and strived to share that love with his children and others. Henry was deeply rooted in his Hawaiian culture and took part in many Hawaiian clubs, playing music for festivals, expos, and ho'olauleas throughout Southern California. He had the privilege of playing multiple times for a hula mau, which is the mainland hula competition, not unlike the Merry Monarch Hula Festival in Hawaii. He sang and played throughout the years at countless weddings, birthdays, luau's, parties, funerals, and get-togethers. His distinctive voice and wide range of classic and contemporary songs were the icing on a Hawaiian community cake. Dad played weekly for many years, teaching lessons in Lapoma through Parks and Rec, playing for the halau's, including Auntie Kamalu Croft's Kamalu Productions and Auntie Judy's Halau Ko'ikeo Nalani. Every Friday night with the guys at Bob's, Okozuya Hawaiian restaurant, which served as the platform to which Dad would later record and release his album, Uncle Henry, Kalana, Kamae, and the Na Ohana Boys. He played for many years with the Kolohe Ukulele Club of Southern California. He loved a good Kanikapila jam and loved calling his girls up to do a hula or two. These last few years had been a struggle for Dad as he battled failing health due to diabetes and heart disease. What ailed him the most was his ongoing fight with his early onset dementia. He found solace in the daily routines, and while he at times would have a hard time remembering the names of people in his life, he was always and forever at peace with an ukulele in his hands. While strumming along to music that had been ingrained in his heart, he would find his happy place, the things that brought him the greatest joy. The children that he knew had created ohanas of their own, continuing the Kamae legacy. The music that they were creating and the lives that they were building for themselves. Being a tutu, grandchildren that loved him as unconditionally as he loved them. The Lord and his everlasting love and plan for the eternal family. The love and peace that the gospel brought to his own life, and you, each and every one of you, that share this day with us, in celebration of his life long and well lived. While we are all not without fault, as former prophet of the church, Gordon B. Hinckley said, go forward in life with a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face, but with great purpose in your heart. Imu aloha, Dad loved that saying. It means go forward. So, my dear brothers and sisters, those that join me in a love and respect for Henry Elia Kamae Jr., Imu aloha. He left this earth and moved on to be with an eternal family last Wednesday, January 8th, 2014, in Lakewood, California, surrounded by his family, playing the ukulele and singing him along as he journeyed from this life to the next. He loved to the fullest, always sang loud, and lived an extraordinary life. He will be carried on in our hearts and in our voices and in our music. Moe me ka maluhi alani. Sleep in heavenly peace, Dad. He is survived by his dear sweetheart and wife of 31 years, Liz Kamae. 8 children: Darren, Jerrina, Nathan, Jason, Alina, Chrissy, Kayla, and Brina. It's been 5 years since my sister Sissy originally read this eulogy at our dad's memorial service. This time of year, things always, just kind of stir. And I wanted to do something that that reminded me of my dad. And I wrote this eulogy when everything was really fresh, and I haven't looked at it in 5 years. So thanks to the cloud for saving this for me, and I hope that you remember him like I do. Aloha.